The hospitality industry is still seen by some as a macho sector where it's easier for men, but a People First report in 2009 showed 60% of the workforce are women, although few in senior positions. Ahead of International Women's Day, BigHospitality spoke to 3 women who are: Angela Hartnett and the Murano, who gained her first Michelin-star in 2004, Carrie Wicks, who as Director of Operations at Firmdale has promoted a number of female general managers in her boutique hotels, and Jillian Maclean, who formed Drake & Morgan bars with an almost exclusively female-led team. I began by asking what challenges or opportunities they'd all encountered as women in the industry.
When I came back to England 16 years ago now, I came back as a single mother, and that of course was a huge challenge in itself to try and get into what I do. And I think I felt at the time that I was blocked along the way by people saying, oh, you know, Kenshi, you should be able to cope with that. So the challenge was to prove that I was capable, more than capable, which I have done, and now I carry that through to my team. Many of my GMs are actually mothers too, and they've come back into the workplace after any between 3 and a year off, 3 months and a year off, and they're doing incredibly well and have adapted back, and it works.
I suppose there's the same challenges for anyone. There's the hours. I don't think that's a female or a male issue. I think generally the hours can be hideous. I think people do presume it's worse for women because they think they can't have families or children and stuff, but that's not true. There's lots of women who have kids in this industry. And I suppose, it is very male dominated, so it's sort of making yourself known and being seen as part of the industry on an equal. But I think that has automatically come, and I think actually when there's so few of you, you're seen more readily. I'm an okay chef, and but there's lots of good chefs out there. There's not just, but because I'm a woman, I stand out a lot more. So I think in some respects it's to my advantage, or to a female advantage, that there's few people in the industry, if you like.
In this decade it's changed really quite substantially, but I think prior to that, over the last 10-20 years, it was quite difficult for women at times, really, particularly people that were taking maybe career breaks, maternity, returning to work and needing to have a more flexible model. But I do think that's changing quite considerably, and it's not just the example in leisure and hospitality that's done it. You see it in other sectors where people have probably been more progressive than we've been in the leisure sector.
I would loathe to say positive discrimination, because I think then sometimes it's not necessarily the right person for the job. I think you have to look at their background and what they've done and what they want to do, and then decide male or female. And whether they're male or female makes no blind bit of difference to me. If they can do the job, they can do the job. And I think childcare, probably, it would be great to have something that could subsidise it, or pensions in the industry, but that could work for both.
I think it's a really important time in the leisure sector, and I think it's important to be in the female psyche, really. But I do think, yes, definitely, there's certainly quite a bit of work that could still be done around benefits and understanding. A lot of companies still probably need to do quite a bit of work to make their packages and the kind of employment rights a bit more flexible as well. It's very helpful for young women coming into our sector to have a mentor, to have a really clear personal development plan as well, and actually not feel embarrassed or awkward to ask. And people need different times at their career, different breaks, and there's no problem around that now, I think, yeah.
Don't give up, fight it, make sure that you prove it. I also think that it's important for anybody, male or female, to actually to start from a bottom level and work up. For me, that's been greatest sort of I think I can look back on and say, yes, I'm so glad that I achieved that.
Don't let people, because that's the worst thing, I suppose, is the worst thing people do in the kitchens, is they pigeonhole women to cold starters and pastry, and they think that's all they can do. Whereas actually go into a good kitchen, like a Gavroche kitchen or a big hotel kitchen, and do every section, and then you're competent. You have to be a rounded chef regardless of your sex. I think, if people look up to you, I think you need to sort of set an example. I think what's good is when you do things like Young Chef of the Year or Chef of the Year, and I do sort of, not a bias, but I will be more, oh great, there's a girl in it, just because otherwise she's got 10 male judges, 10 blokes she's next to, just to sort of say that, you're not on your own, and, give a bit of confidence boost.
When my first general manager, for example, was pregnant, and my first fear was, oh my gosh, how are we going to cope, and then get past that, and then you think, actually no, hang on a minute, we can move on this on. So I do feel responsible, and the fact that the support, I give a huge support to my girls, and it's noted, and it's so noted, and therefore the commitment from their side is just amazing.
I've been in the leisure sector for quite a while. I don't want to confess how long. I think it's important as you grow and your role grows in the business that you do give back actually, and that you make sure that you're trying to develop a really great model for leisure going forward really.